So which one is which?
This one right here, normal steak. This steak has been... All right, guys, the secret to an incredible steak is not the tool that you think it is. I'm going to show you guys what we're going to do to make all of your steaks taste that much better today. All right, so we have two different kinds of steaks here. I'm not going to tell Ash which is which. I'm just going to have her try both of them and just give an honest feedback on what the difference is. And then I'm going to show you guys what I did to make one of them, I think, a lot better than the other.
Cool. It's a tough job.
It's a tough job.
Someone has to eat all the steak.
Gotta love steak.
A lot of flavor. Juicy, salty, delicious. Let's try this next one over here. Wow. Delicious.
They're seasoned the exact same way with nothing but salt.
They taste like they're seasoned the exact same way. I definitely taste the salt. They're both amazing. This one, though, is a little bit more maybe tender. Both are super, super good, but this one does seem to be a lot juicier and tender.
It's a little bit beefier, I think, as well.
Yes,
And
beefier is a great way to say
the
that.
saltiness on the second one, on this one over here,
Yeah.
as you compare it to this one, I think that you'll taste the saltiness on this one. It goes all the way through the steak, and this one, it's on the outside.
It's almost just like an even flavoring. This one over here on the right, the one with the even salt throughout it, is also a little bit easier to chew and a little easier to eat. Even just cutting into this one.
It's like cutting into butter.
So which one is which?
So this one right here, normal steak, the way that we usually would do a steak, where you dry it off, you salt it, you sear it in a hot skillet and get a nice crust. This steak has been dry brined. So I'm going to show you guys how we dry brine, use a really special tool that makes this a lot easier that I now have dedicated in my kitchen for this exact purpose. It makes a huge difference with not just steaks, but really any meat. But I have a dry brining chamber I'm going to share with you guys. It just seasons a steak all the way through. It lets the fat really render out, so it's a lot fattier tasting and it's a lot juicier in that way. It makes the beef taste beefier because of the fact that it ages it a little bit, which is really nice. And it also tenderizes the meat a little bit because when it sits in dry brines, it causes the breakdown of the proteins just a little bit and the meat fibers, softens everything, and it tenderizes it a bit. So it's going to make every steak you eat better. It's extremely simple. Let me show you guys how we do it. So these removable racks are perfect for dry brining. We're going to take a couple of steaks, set them directly on these removable racks of this Califort mini beverage fridge. And all we need to do is put salt on these steaks. You're going to salt this just like you were about to cook the steak and eat it. Make sure you get both sides liberally. And I'm just pressing that salt in to make sure it sticks really well to the steak. And now instead of using a rack and a cookie sheet and taking up space in my big refrigerator,
I now have a dedicated dry brining chamber with removable racks that also fit in my dishwasher that I can keep all of my meat at 38 degrees and dry brine overnight, no problem, without taking up any extra space or getting in the way of anything else in the fridge. These are some more steaks I'm dry brining, and you can see the size of cookie sheet that would normally have to go in my big refrigerator if I was to use that. Instead, they go right on one of these removable racks, and I'm going to slide it into the mini fridge to dry brine. Now, admittedly, this is not what this Califort fridge is advertised for, but it does keep a nice 38-degree consistent temperature that is food safe, and if you're okay with taking the risk to use the product in a way that it's not technically designed for, I think I am too, and man, it does a great job. 24 hours later, this is what those 3 dry brined steaks I just put in are going to look like. You can see they are darker red, they look dry on the surface. These are going to be amazing. You can cook your steaks any way you want, but I'm going to drop these in the sous vide. And when they're done, we can take them out, and I'm going to grill these up with a flame torch, because who doesn't love fire? Here's our dry brine steaks from the taste test that we did. And the extra steak that I did not dry brine. You can see how much deeper red the dry brine steaks are on both sides as compared to that steak in the middle. And that's exactly what we want to see, because that means the salt has gone all the way through as the steak has dried out. So all I'm going to do is season the middle steak with salt the same way I did the other 2. I'm just not going to dry brine it, and then we're going to cook all 3 together so we can do that taste test you guys saw. Now, I know how to get a great crust on a steak regardless, but doing this dry brining technique, it does make it easier to get this amazing brown crust that we all love so much on our steaks. You can see the dry brining helps break down that fat to where that steak almost wants to fall apart. And there's our control steak for flavor comparison.
All right, guys, there you go. That is the Califort beverage fridge, which we're not using for beverages, although a beverage could go in there for sure. Mostly that is going to become a dry brining chamber. So you can go get any kind of a mini fridge that you want, but I'll be honest, the beverage fridge, it's a very stable. It is really, really easy to control. And because it has that glass front, I can actually keep an eye on all of my dry brining meats just by looking in, making sure everything is looking good, see when things are dry brined, when it's changing color, when it's, you know, kind of what's going on. And because you can turn it up to a higher temperature and run it in like the 50s range, you could actually get into like curing sausage or those kinds of things that have to cure at a higher temperature. You can also keep it at the lowest temperature, which is 38. And as long as you're under 40, you're food safe. Keep your steaks or chicken or whatever else it is that you want to dry brine in there. And it's absolutely fantastic. If you guys have the opportunity to do it, I suggest you dry brine pretty much every steak you eat, because it just makes it amazing. I mean, this steak is already good here, but this one over here that's been dry brined, it's honestly just that refinement level on it is amazing. It's just better. It really
I would agree.
is. It really is. You don't have to do anything special to a steak other than just dry brine it, and you will get a better tasting steak. Now, different cuts, different quality levels, there's all kinds of other things that will factor into it, but if you take a steak and you dry brine it, it will automatically be better than if you didn't dry brine it. And you don't have to do it all night like I did. Like I did it overnight with this. you can do 6 to 8 hours and get a really good result. It's not going to be as tenderized that way, but it will still taste amazing. So it's a great tool to have. I really appreciate Califort for sharing their incredible beverage fridge, which does make a great beverage fridge if you're looking for a beverage fridge. That's awesome too. I'm gonna have a link down below with a discount code for you guys to the Califort refrigerators. You can go check out this beverage fridge. Just double check because they do have wine coolers, beverage fridges, different things. Make sure the one you're buying goes down to 40 degrees or below if that's what you're looking to do. Some of their wine coolers don't go that low because they're meant for chilling wine in a different way. So if you're gonna do something like I'm doing with it with those removable racks and you're gonna dry brine your meat, make sure it's the one that goes all the way down. Otherwise, thank you Califort for sending that. It was absolutely amazing to get to do this, and I'm really happy we have a dry brining fridge now because it's gonna keep it out of the big fridge so I have more room to work. So
I'm happy.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. So thank you guys, and thank you to Califort. This has been very fun, and this is gonna be really tasty, especially going forward. So thank you guys for watching. All my links are down below as usual. Go check out Califort. Tell them Chris Cooking Nashville sent you. You guys make sure to eat your meat, especially if you've dry brined it. Love your life. We're gonna see you here in the kitchen for a whole bunch more dry brined and amazing recipes.
Just put all this steak on my plate. Tasty, delicious steak. Big fan.
Yeah.
Melody, come